would require your supply chain to behave in a manner that is suitable for the other customer. So if you take, let's say, discrete manufacturing, they tend to believe MRP is a solution. Something like MRP tends to take the bullwhip right up to the material planning stage. So you can have up to a point stock-based, made-to-stock kind of model. And for those customers who are willing to wait and where the products are not easy to come by, you can have a completely different lane in which this will go through. So essentially, the companies that have been able to multi-lane their supply chain, right from the way in which they pass the demand to the material planner, to the production planner, and the execution team, you would find they are far more, efficient in terms of carrying inventory, and they would serve their customers far more, sensibly, as opposed to having a lot of stock, but the customer is not getting the product. So, recognizing there is an opportunity to multi-lane your supply chain is probably the most important thing, which affects the way in which execution takes place.
So, how do you think the customers are currently managing that? Do you see this, or is it still human-driven effort, or is it?
It is not. I think there is enough evidence in most companies to say that the Pareto works, the 80-20 rule works, and if you are able to deal with 80% of your product portfolio, it may be made up of 3 or 4 product families, then you are making that product family work on the basis of efficiency, and the product families that are not, they cannot be subject to a certain amount of predictability, you allow that to work in an inefficient manner. So you build in some lines inefficiency, saying that I am willing to take setups and set downs, and these 80% of the products I will not suffer inefficiency. It will be long batch sizes, batch runs, and so forth. So if you are able to separate these two into 2 lanes, you will not allow bullwhip to interfere with each other.
So you kind of remove the figure from the clutter.
Exactly.
And then you focus on it. Now this takes me to the next point. We've seen increasingly a lot of the Indian manufacturing companies are getting into bigger warehouses, much bigger scale, high volume, high complexity. So what would take the manufacturer's perspective? So if you look at even Indian companies, Asian Paints, really gone into high level of automation, robotic control automation. So looking at the Indian scenario, where labor is still cheap, where you really don't have too much of discipline in the warehouse, do you think this is a strategy which companies are adopting, especially in Finland? Or you still think it's still a far away kind of an approach?
I think not very far away. It's really around the corner, because the moment this GST happens, these kind of strategies will fall in place. I would like to share an example within our organization, which is wherein we have been, as one of the presenters talked about, that if the organization is 20-30-year-old organization, has been in the FMCG sector, is actually locked with the multiple size of warehouses in various cities, because when you started operating, you got into a very low cost. Today we feel that was a low cost model to get into a store or a warehouse kind of thing, which you just needed to redistribute in the nearby locality. But today you have grown, the organizations have grown, the FMCG market itself has grown, and for an organization like Pidilite, which is there everywhere, to cater to Mumbai market, we have roughly about 200,000 square feet warehousing space in Bhiwandi. But this entire space is not under one roof. It is spread across 5 small fragmented warehouses, which are in the vicinity of about 2 kilometers. Now, on the face of it, it looks very good that we must consolidate. It's a huge size. We can get into a lot of automation, and a lot of overheads can be reduced if we bring the entire thing under one roof. But the challenge is different. The challenge is on the real estate side. Today, if I look at entire 200,000 square feet area, possibly locked at, just for the example sake here, is locked at about 7 rupees a square feet. But if I move to the one bigger automated and then maybe the full-fledged 200,000 or maybe scalable 300,000 square feet area, to cater not only to Mumbai market but also to the nearby market, maybe if I include Pune market to be catered from Bhiwandi zone itself. It does not give me the cost advantage, because the real estate is now, the new warehouse is going to cost me about 12 to 13 rupees a square feet area. Now that advantage or the reduction in my cost because of the consolidating entire warehouses at one and making it kind of a lean warehouse there, to say so, is being eaten away by the higher rentals. So it doesn't really make economic sense to switch over to the, rather it makes sense to invest a little more in improving the efficiency at the same place where you are located and wait until the entire the GST or this kind of tax reforms happen and then move to the next level of the warehousing. So that's one wherein we are stuck actually.
So Jayesh, you have similar experience when you talk of warehouse automation.
No, what we have done, because we from point of the GST, we already centralized many warehouses. We have already reduced the number of warehouses based on benefit available. One of the reasons why you have distributed warehouse, because you are required to claim input credits. So we, instead of keeping we have three options in we have a Nestle brands. We procure the goods from the Nestle brand and transfer to the stores. One is own brand. So for Nestle brand, what we have done, we have asked the Nestle brand vendor directly to transfer to the stores. Don't go to the warehouse. So the Nestle brand of Delhi vendor directly transfer to Delhi, or UP directly transfer to UP. So we can get a claim of wet input credit. So we have removed the north warehouse, south warehouse. There is no requirement because NB can go out to the respective NB vendors. Regarding own brand, majority of the vendor sits near to west. Majority are in because vendor who supplies me own brand merchandise is in the